Yes, yes, yes. Today we're going to get into some boxing, but the thing about today is there's going to be one reality that is going to come front and center, and there's a difference between professional boxing and pro boxers. So we're going to really get into that today as we creep on to the beginning of a new year and the end of this great year of boxing. We're going to create some differentials and get into some old fights that happened over the past week. So I look forward to
Hmm.
sharing that. But before I get started, I'd like to introduce our sponsors, jabjuice.com,
Yeah.
the leader of social
Hmm.
media for the combat world. And we're basically paving the way so that our current combat athletes and gym owners can really understand how to flourish in the age of social media, just like these up and coming guys who've done it in the YouTube world, like Jake Paul. And that's kind
Right.
of what they
Mhm.
do, just kind of bring
That's
things front
right.
and center. So thanks again. My name is Eric A. Bradley, and this is
Hey,
my
everybody.
host.
I'm Stacy. Me,
Um,
your host, Stacy
well, it's,
today.
it's, it's it's definitely going to be a good show, and thanks for joining us because we're going to close this year out on Saturday. But today we're going to get into a couple of things that a lot of people have been asking about, and one young man particularly asked me, "What happened to Deontay Wilder? Why did he look that way?" So I'm going to get into that,
Yeah.
and you also wanted to find out what was that, and so we're
Yeah,
going to
you
get
took the
into it.
words. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. What exactly was that we saw, Saturday
Yeah,
night? I know you
it's
have a lot to
unfortunate.
say about it.
Yeah, we're going to break it down, but this kind of sets me up for the professional versus the pro. What it takes to become a professional boxer is discipline, commitment, a team, an understanding of experiences that the people have. And what it takes to be a pro boxer is $25 and blood in your body because they do
That's right.
tests.
Hmm.
And what are you going to be? I see a lot of people who want to box and they come into the sport and they say, I want to box. And you say, what's your amateur career? Nothing. I ain't fought. I just want to go pro. And so, what I
Hmm.
would say to those people are, you're going to be a pro boxer. And no matter what happens in your career, you're never going to ever be a commodity. I mean, you're never going to be one of the business operating athletes
Right.
like the Canelos, the Floyds, the Tyson
Hmm.
Furies, the big names. And what do you want to do? It's
Yeah.
just like I just want to be the guy at the hospital that pushes a barrel full of trash around only. I don't have
Hmm.
any further aspirations. If you're going to be in the custodial arts, at least own the company, you know, and
That's
have a
right.
contract.
Mhm.
But when those guys fought over the weekend, and we got to see, and I'm going to get into this kind of deep because when you look at Deontay Wilder over the course of the past few years since he's bumped heads with Tyson Fury the very first time, he learned very early on in that fight that things aren't going to always be there. And so Tyson Fury is working with very deep lineage. His whole family is from fighting, prize fighting, the Gypsy King. This is a lineage of fighters. And so they do understand concept. And he understood just because he was big, he doesn't need to fight big. He understands how to be elusive. And what do you see in that? As a fan, you're looking at this guy, he's making another guy who's not bigger than him miss. That's called
Mhm.
defense. That's called understanding just the complexity of how serious combat sports is. What you saw at Deontay Wilder, and he had his former trainer
Mhm.
prior to getting Malik Scott, he had him. And what they didn't understand is how to set the punches up when you're boxing against a boxer. So don't
Mhm.
throw for the head, go to the chest, keep the activity levels going and consistent, and don't worry about throwing heavy duty, hard punches unless you're throwing at the center of the collarbone. And so, with that being said, what you got to see is the lack thereof proper or experience. Those experiences, I always say it. Boxing isn't about. It's not just about having a hard punch or attributes. Boxing is about more than that. Boxing has everything to do with when you got the right team and you have experience. You got to, at that point, you got to know how to use it and get the right people in your corner. And with that
Well, that's
being
exactly
said,
what I was going to ask you. That's what I was going to ask you.
yes,
What did that tell you about the coaching that you saw?
the coaching, when you saw Deontay Wilder, that first Tyson Fury fight, what was lacking is the understanding of how to fight against a guy who sets you up and sets traps and knows how to change the angles, right? The second time you saw them fight, Deontay Wilder at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, what you saw him doing is doing mitt work, intensive mitt work at about, it was what time was it? It was about 2 a.m., 1 a.m. because I saw a video, and that video showed them actually doing mitts. And one thing that you don't do that close to the fight. And with that being said, I'm trying to get my Instagrammers on board. What that being said, when you saw that, that was the mark of immaturity. And I'm not knocking them. It's just when you have the lack of experiences at that level. And I constantly say in boxing, there are levels to this. And if you don't understand what they are, they will soon understand you, because they're going to catch you from behind. And that's what he didn't understand at that current time. And so with Malik Scott being there, and Malik Scott has a boxing mind, he has a boxing brain. He came up as a fighter and he was a top tier level fighter. Does he beat the Deontay Wilders? No. So that means he's a level below Deontay Wilder, because there's obviously some things he didn't understand about beating a guy who was a much heavier puncher and that could get him out of there. And Deontay got him out of there in 1 round. And this is no shade on Malik Scott, because what I like about Malik Scott is he's very wise. He does a lot of the studying. He does a lot of the research. He does a lot of film studying with his fighter. He talks into his fighter's head. He talks into his fighter's spirit. What I think is not there and present is the fact that those experiences that cultivate his amazing mind are not there as far as being the coach. Working a corner as a coach is a serious thing. That same thing does not resonate. They have only won 1 fight out of the 3 that they've been in. And I mean, out of the 4 that they've been in, they've won 1. And that guy walked into the punch in the first round, Helenas. And that fight was just, it was telling, because we reached out to Shelly Finkel for advice. I mean, to give advice, and they were like, well, it seems like the camp's all right now. And I'm like, well, okay. The key was, and you touch base. And I was just like, he's not fighting off his back foot. He's not setting things up. And I'm telling you, this is going to become the problem. And in that second fight, he got, dusted. Third fight, he thought the problem was his weight. So then he went and put on weight. So the second problem in fight number 2 was overexertion of himself, overconfidence in himself, not having respect that the levels would change. And so did the game plan of Tyson Fury, because he went and got in the corner. He went over to and got with my boy Hill, Coach Hill, and those guys. And the Kronk Gyms teach that real stuff. And when he got in there, Tyson came in with a different game plan. He took the fight twice as serious as the first. Deontay Wilder came in there on more ego and wanted to flex, and all
Yeah.
of that stuff does not carry over in high level boxing. And then when they got to fight number 3, these are all mistakes. There's 3 reasons why fighters lose fights, and they proved all 3 of them. Third fight, he went and overmassed himself with muscle because his confidence was shattered by being knocked out by the guy that in the first fight he could have been rewarded a knockout because it was a 10 count. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point. When you compensate with overmassing the body with muscle, which is why I tell all you fighters and the guys who are training the fighters, because the coach has to have more experience than the fighter. Don't you go putting all of this weight on these fighters, massing their bodies up. Weight training is for bone density. Dexterity is training the body with massive heavy bag, chopping wood. There are variation of variables that come into play from things that give you more oxygen, and as you build up dexterity and you take time, you can't put on dexterity in a matter of weeks or months or even a year. That breaks things down to the cellular level. So you got to take these things in time. Coach Virgil Hunter, who coached the 2004 Olympics with my mentor, told the world Andre Ward is not moving to 75 until his body gets to 75, not because he went to McDonald's or Bojangles or Burger
Right.
King and ate himself to 175. His dexterity, his bone density, his actual man weight came into play. And that's where you develop your mind, your body, your physique to fight at a different level. Boxing isn't about muscles and fat. Boxing is about bone, skeleton, avatar. And so when you look at these young men who don't know really shit about boxing, because you really don't, because it takes experiences. You've never even been in the ring series. So experiences is something that you are so far from. There's the same connotation that I put with experiences, that when Prograis thought he could just beat Devin Haney because of what he saw on tape. And if you don't heard it once, you don't heard it 10,000 times. When those guys get to that 12th round, they say, I didn't realize how good he was. Because I said it before, and I say it again, and I say it on every post. You don't know what you're looking at when you're studying the film. It's all about the mechanics of the body, the boxing mechanics, the algorithm of a fighter. When they have that thing, as Sugar Ray Leonard said it, that thing that has no name.
That's right.
You don't know what you're looking at, and it's okay, but you have to have a pioneer. You have to have a professor. You have to have an OG in the corner who does know what they're looking at when they're watching a fighter. When we had Buddy McGirt on this thing, Buddy McGirt understood that because he was in the ring against that when he fought Sweet Pea twice. Buddy McGirt made it very clear there's a different kind of athlete that when you're watching them, they look like everybody else until you're in the ring, and then the angles change. The reflexes are different than what you've ever seen before. And that's the exact same thing that happens when people get into the ring with those guys like Lomachenko. They was like, well, I'm bigger than him. Manny Pacquiao, you get in there standing at the weigh-in, you're bigger than him. So evidently you must be better than him because you're bigger than him. And then when you get in the ring, all you can feel is smoke.
Yeah.
This last fight with Deontay Wilder, what you saw was the lack there of understanding on how to make an adjustment inside of the boxing ring. And that is serious stuff. But I'm going to get into Anthony Joshua. Can you read that comment?
Yeah. So what I was going to say to you, Coach, is like what type of adjustment needs to be made when you find yourself, when your team is in a situation that darn well that night during the fight that you weren't able
Yeah.
to, in the moment, make those adjustments and get your fighter out of trouble or get him in a position to, you know, be where he needs to be to win that fight and get those
Mhm.
points. What do you do as a coach?
As a coach, first you make sure you have the right voices. First, you have to have this, that you have to have the one who's a strategy guy. The strategy guy is the guy who understands the actual skills that need to be applied and understand the adjustment that need to be made. And see,
Mhm.
9 times out of 9, you're going to always find the corner undermanned because they didn't have the right attraction. They supposed to attract. That's what I say. The heart of a champion attracts the right people.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, Floyd Mayweather knew who he needed in his circle. And the next person you're going to need, because you can tell a guy what to do. That's right. You've seen it time and time again. Derek James was telling Errol Spence what to do, and it was right. The thing about it is he didn't understand how to tell him, because see,
Yeah.
that's what my mentor did. My first fight coaching in a fight was, you know, in a title fight, and he knew that I could talk to the guy. So he gave up the corner for that round and said, talk to him, because there's a chief second and third. I was third, he was chief second. So I can't physically be the corner man, but I have to talk. So he gave me the floor to talk during a title fight to get this guy to throw the jab. And that was my moment of truth. And that speaks to not only telling them what to do, how to do it, and the method that it has to come out of your mouth, the tone. It's what we call the dog whisper.
Mm-hmm. I remember very well.
Period.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Malik may have been calling for things. The dog whistle matters. So when he has a fighter not listening, just like when Errol Spence fought Crawford, it was just like, whoa. But I just saw Sean Porter said when he fought Errol Spence, he felt like the entire fight that he was out thinking Errol Spence.
Ah,
He said, but when he said every time, every round, he felt like, man, I'm out thinking him. He said it. It's on YouTube Shorts right now. He said,
yeah.
I felt like every round I was out thinking him. And he said, but when I got in the ring with Bud Crawford, when I started to box with him, he said every time he thought, he saw Bud thinking too. He felt his IQ. He said, anything I did, he had an answer for. I couldn't outthink him. And he said, if they ever fought, Bud will win. And Bud got knockout power. So not only will he win, he'll probably win by knockout. You can go over to see that on YouTube right now. And so this is what I know. Malik Scott has a boxing IQ. I know Malik Scott has and understands boxing. He fought. He was a titleist. He's been under the tutelage of Manuel Stewart and a lot of great minds. But it takes experiences to manifest that, because I couldn't come right out of training nobody to working in the top levels with the top fighters. You feel me what I'm saying? Has
100%.
anybody ever been in a corner and when you first start doing it and that shit was just moving so fast, you didn't know exactly what happened, and you have to, what we call, get yourself to a place where the game slows down. That's why
Yeah.
you need an OG in the corner, because he understands what's happening and he understands how to look at the fight. He understands that the guy that you fighting, it's easier to look at him on video and think you got him. But when you fight him on fight night, it's not the same when you in the ring with Floyd. It's not the
Yeah.
same when you in the ring with Pacquiao. It's not the same when you in the ring with Lomachenko. It's not the same as the video looks, because the angles change of where you looking at it from. That makes sense.
That's right. And I just got to throw out there, I mean, can you guys that are watching us right now, can you imagine watching a fight with this guy right here? I mean, you can only imagine what it's like. And like coach was saying at the beginning of the show, is like, you don't often know what you're looking at. And my mind is blown constantly, every fight, being brought into the loop of really what's going down in the moment. And, if you guys ever have a chance, we do those film studies. I mean, it is mind blowing stuff that we get into.
Yeah,
So
it is.
constantly,
The
like,
Coach's
you
Corner.
got to know what you're looking at. And that's been a big takeaway, and something I know that we really drill down diligently with our members.
Yeah, special shout out to I am Nick Hook on IG. Special shouts out to him. He said, I need this guy as a coach, man. I'm retired from that field, but I do lead coaches, and I make sure that they know what I got to experience almost 4 decades in these corners, being advisor, being tactician, being strategy. All of these things are just so overwhelmingly necessary. And it hurts my feelings when I hear fighters or coaches thinking that they can just go pro. I'm saying, oh, so maybe those first 20 years of my life was unnecessary. Maybe I didn't need to learn boxing, because it's so much in the politics of boxing that for the first 15 years, you're still learning. So imagine going in there with no experience and then walking in there, and it's like 1,000 things that are required for you to do and know that you have zero idea, reference, or anything. You don't know. It's paperwork. It's things to put on bite cards that when it's required for you to, like, all they see is weigh-ins and press conferences and people in social media talk. You don't know what happens in boxing as a professional. It's a business, it's a company, and it's politics in it. So how well do you know real politics? You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff in boxing, man. It's equivalent to becoming a doctor with the knowledge that you got to possess. And that's why you got to have a real great corner. That's why we have currently now the Coach's Corner. Starting in January, we will launching it, because there's so much you guys don't know. These books are just books for coaches. And I promise you don't not anything in here. And so if you don't go in there knowing these things, you won't stand a chance in real high level boxing, because you got to go up against guys that know stuff like me. I am an actual OG. Don't get fooled by the baby face. And I know a lot of you thinking, especially you old cats. I seen some cat on one of my posts. Oh, I was fighting in the 70s. I did this and that, and I ain't heard of this. And I'm like, because you old as fuck. And you don't, I'm an OG too. And the fact of the matter is this: I lived that life. But the thing about it is you fought. I wrote the future and the history of boxing. You get it? I'm making coaches, over 60,000 coaches commit to our lessons. You know what I'm saying? So you can talk all that stupid shit, but I do this for real, and I will have my name written in the history books, because I'm a legend in the current day. But I'm just going to do like anybody who's wise. As long as you got breath in your body, you continue to raise the bar and bring others up with you. Speaking of others up with you, I want y'all to realize there's a difference between professionals and pro. Do you want to go pro as a fighter, or do you want to be a professional? I used to say this to my amateurs all the time, because if you're going to be a professional, you got to know how to build and surround yourself with the right team. You got to know exactly how to market yourself. That means you do have to talk to the camera. You do have to understand how to attract companies that will get behind you and do deals the same way Canelo got with Under Armour. When you walk through Dick's Sporting Goods, his face is right there. Anthony Joshua's face is right there. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's face is right there. I don't care how good you can box. Don't nobody care. You're just a moment of entertainment. Not even an hour does a fight last. People don't care about you after the fight is over. How do you feed yourself if you're not in that ring? You got to know how to build yourself up as a brand. And so that's what I'm teaching guys to do. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
And yes, I will say it. Fuck your fighting career. Your fighting career. You know how many fighters I done got under my tutelage? I'm on the board of fighters that can't even talk now. I don't see no fans running over there, and you know who I'm talking about.
No.
I don't see fans running over there. So you fighters are crazy thinking that your boxing career is going to be enough. So I'm teaching you more, and that's
That's
why we
right.
got. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to
It's
say, I'm
yeah.
glad that you brought up
Yeah,
the
I'm talking about
coach's corner.
I fought, I did this. Yeah. So you let me know you're telling on yourself, because most people, you think you fight, you're ridding yourself of learning how a business has to operate. You're ridding yourself of learning how to galvanize people and teach them how you want your company run. You think because you use your fists to make money for a living that you're void of the other responsibilities. That's why you didn't go to school to be a doctor. That's why you didn't go to be a lawyer. That's why you didn't go to be a accountant, because you felt like, I don't want to do no schoolwork. But my friend, no matter who you are, you got to do work, a whole lot of it, and you got to do a lot of homework.
Yeah,
And
you
you got to
do.
recruit, you got to read, you got to have people, you got to hire lawyers to watch the other lawyers so you don't go broke. And you got to have money invested, and you got to learn accounting anyway. Or ask people who have been in the game and their wives took everything. Their people was just taking all their stuff, and they sitting around thinking, and that's about everybody.
Yeah.
You know, Floyd broke the mold. Ray Leonard had to recover and redo itself. So did Mike Tyson. So you think you're gonna make more money than Mike Tyson? You stupid. I don't care how you take it. Dude, you better learn this stuff, because this
Yeah.
game is real and it don't take no prisoners. And a lot of you don't even know why the game is like it is, and why do they search for people with very powerful followings, because boxing sanctioning bodies are a fucking nonprofit.
Yep.
That means it's not in their interest to monetize their lifestyle. So they have to have something that feeds the beast that money so it can stay alive. And I'm talking about the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the WBO. You think those are companies, for-profit companies? Because that's how little you know about the real sport of boxing.
Yeah.
Not even 20% of this audience knew that. They don't get a paycheck. Not Mauricio Suleiman, not Jill, not any of those people that I mentioned and have on the show or in business relationships with. It's nonprofits, period. You better get on your game. You
That's
think
why
a
you got to be on
nonprofit
your game.
got your back? You think a nonprofit got your back? This ain't Susan B. Komen. You don't got cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to fend for yourself. That's why the WBC was willing to put Jake Paul and rank him when he fought against Fury, Tommy Fury. But he lost. But if he wouldn't have, he would have been ranked, because boxing is about revenue streaming into these nonprofits, because that's how they survive. You feel what I'm saying? But these are the greatest people in the world. They will help you do anything if you got a real serious plan. Those guys, Mauricio and those guys, are seriously too good for most of the people that approach them, because they really do help people. They really do commit to the game. And y'all who are out here a part of the game, you don't know shit about wanting to learn. And please, I'm going to say this plain and clear. Get the hell out of my face if you are a lazy fuck, because I do not play. I committed to this game. I writ and wrote and wrote and wrote until I can hardly write my name. You feel what I'm saying?
Good.
So you better know and learn and stop being lazy, or just go to school and be a doctor. But I don't edify lazy. I don't edify walking around wanting all the help in the world. Build up a team. Go to the gym. You want some help? Go run 5 miles a day. Show that you a real soldier. And maybe in a few years of doing that without asking for help, people will see you real about their life. Stay consistent training. Boxing ain't easy. It's
No.
easier to become a doctor, but if you're going to do it, you better do it right. And you coaches out here, the thing I got to say to you is Malik Scott is trying his ass off, and you can't imagine the scrutiny that he's under inside of that camp, because he hasn't won but one fight out of 4. One
It's
out of
tough.
4.
Yeah.
So when you got people like that who sticking their neck out there, because this, believe me, it's tough. When you're doing all of that talking and helping and encouraging and studying, and then you keep losing, and the only fight you win is by one punch, first round knockout, that the guy walked into the punch, he knocked himself out. Like, that's not credibility. So I just tell you guys, you got to learn boxing. And once again, you got all of these coaches that are sitting back and just acting like it's going to come to them. But, you know, you're not going to beat our coaches. You're just not, because they're going to beat you in so many areas. What if you win the fight? You ain't going to know how to do anything with it. You're going to see our coaches' names on the side of buildings, doing deals with companies like Adidas, being in commercials, conversating with prime ministers. That's the difference between Champions University and the Coach's Corner versus versus people just going out there to coach, versus people just going out there to let somebody coach them that ain't getting no education, that don't understand the game. You ask them 5 questions, they probably can answer 1. If it ain't got nothing to do with a hook or a footwork or a defensive tactic, they don't know shit else. And I know you don't, because I talked to so many of you guys. I got 20 million people. 20 million fucking people see my face every single month without fail. You don't think I done had some conversations? I know what you ain't got. I know what you lack. And 70% of them are fighters that used to fight and trying to coach now and realize fighting and coaching is 2 different careers. It's the exact same thing as engineering a Bentley and working at, but what's that, AutoZone?
Totally different.
It's not the same career, champ. Detailing Bentleys and building them is 2 different careers. So take boxing serious and stop stealing ideas on Instagram and YouTube, because that's not with context. As coaches, they're just showing you what you don't know, but they ain't showing the rest of it that you ain't got. They just want views. Hell, I want views. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of those companies pay us. So yeah, I want views, I want comments, I want shares, but I want you to know that there's more. Don't get caught up. All we putting out there is entertainment.
Yeah.
We're not putting out, that's not education, that's not learning. So wake up, champ.
Yeah. Everything you just said is truly the driving force about in the way that we educate over here. And it is totally redefining about how the world of combat learns and teaches and monetizes the science of boxing.
Yeah.
Totally different approach.
You can't build your life around boxing. You have to build life and then add boxing. And now you are complete. Y'all are watching. I mean, so many people like hate Floyd, but Floyd showed you how to do it. But you so stupid. You care about a person who don't even know you, and he just showed you the blueprint to win in boxing. And all of these people, it's just ridiculous how stupid you are, thinking that this dude even care, like that you put your energy into that. You should be copying the playbook. Surround yourself with a great team, Leonard Ellerby, Kelly Swanson, his team of goons that will break your whole head off if you come close to him. His entire network is his net worth.
So
Manny
true.
Pacquiao, Boo Boy, My Fighter Rashad, all of these people that he built around him as to encompass the journey. Look at Devin is taking the exact same steps. And
He
look,
is.
if they don't look like you, they don't want to co-sign on what you're doing. But who wouldn't exchange places with a dude that's the champ, winning and dominating fashion when it counts the most, and have beat every man in front of them? Who doesn't want that resume? I just don't want to encourage hatred and bias and envy. And all you're doing is showing that you're jealous. Because who wouldn't want the big boy mansion? I wouldn't have wanted it in Vegas, but the fact that he got one in Miami, and I seen it. It's a problem. Yeah, but you know what? You guys got to grow up. I don't give a shit if you like what I'm saying. The fact is, it's facts. I don't live this life. So I'm OG. When you become an OG, you can say what you want to say. You can do what you want to do. You can operate and you can bring around you who you want. And if you want people in your school, you can keep them in your school. When you don't want them in your school, you can kick them out of your school and say sayonara, peace and hair grease, because I got control over that. You know what I'm saying? And I know I built an entity. I know if you come up under our banner, your ass is going to get very, very popular because we are. And the thing about it is popularity sells in 2024. Believe that. Right. And if you ain't popular, if you walking around and you got 2,000 or 3,000 followers and don't nobody care about you, I don't give a damn how good you can box, because it takes other elements. Am I right or wrong?
100% right.
So you got to get that other stuff too. You ain't gonna go into a Target, you know what I'm saying, and go shop, but the shelves ain't stocked. You're gonna stop going. So that's the exact same thing why boxing needs you to have a following. That's why they attract to fighters who got followings, because they are a non-profit. Period. They don't want somebody who doesn't have a following of people. That's why you think all of these YouTube fighters are getting all the main event cards.
Yep. It costs a lot to put those shows on.
Costs a lot to put those shows on, and your lazy ass just all you want to do is show up.
Crazy.
You gotta do more than that, man. You gotta bring something to the dance. So you need to build a solid team. You need to get mentorship, and there are people out there that got depth with their lineage, and Tyson Fury was one of them. You got to take a page from the people who are doing it. Sean Porter, his dad didn't have the lineage, but guess what he went and did? He went and partnered with my mentor's buddy, Barry Hunter, out of DC. So DC, special shouts out to my man. And Patrice over there in DC, special shouts out to Patrice Harris and his team. He's always doing the headbangers in the building. Body head. It's fire, man. He was smart. Coach Kenny knew that, yo, man, this game, it's levels to this. That amateur stuff is a lot of levels, but when you get to the pros, the levels don't end. So how many levels do you think you got? Let's say if I put up, this is about 6 books, right? This will make you a level 1.5 to 2, because I got 30. This will make you a level 1.5, all right? If you operate. How much do you think you don't know? If all of that is different stuff. So I literally can say you don't know shit about boxing. Literally, you don't. It's just like you in kindergarten on day 1. You don't even know your ABCs. You think you're going to just become a stunner? You ain't going to be no fucking body. That's the real deal. And I hate to keep it real. And some of you like, damn, telling me the truth. No, get a real job. Go your ass to school. Because boxing is real. These guys like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevens, they were doing that shit since they spit the pacifier out their mouth. You get in the ring with them, you're going to get your freaking nuts handed to you. Man, these boys real. They real. They killers. Believe me. That's why people don't go in there and try to get that smoke on them. They just say, I'm going to survive 12 rounds. That's why those boys ain't getting knockouts. Nobody, you get in there, you know your ass outclassed. Period. Lomachenko, see, he is a pure pugilist. When he got those boys out there on Quiz Street, he's stopping them. He's stopping one of my favorite fighters in Linares in the 10th round. Man, Linares is a purist, but he's fisticuffs and not a pure boxer. He's fisticuffs, and that's a big difference. I'll tell you guys about that in the Coach's Corner. And
That's right.
we're going to go over one of my coaches, Coach Colazar. So I'm gonna give you guys a real lesson. I'm gonna let you guys see what a real actual lesson looks like from a coach. And Coach Colazar from K2 Boxing and Jiu-Jitsu in Everett, Washington. Here's a little lesson from him.
Big pet peeve of mine and most coaches. You see somebody working the heavy bag, the bag starts to move around, and they do this. They grab the heavy bag with their hands, they stop the heavy bag from moving, and then they start punching again. They're hitting the bag, little movement to the bag, and then they stop it with their hands. Don't let the heavy bag work you. You have to work the bag. You do that by controlling the motion with your jab. If that bag starts to move around, and I don't like the way it's moving, then I'm gonna use my jab. Control the bag. Then I can throw my combinations, and I'll use the jab to control the movement. Use your jab to control the bag. Don't do this.
Bam.
Bam.
Yeah, we teaching the best of the best. K2 Boxing and Jiu-Jitsu.
Great people.
Follow the page
Great
over on Instagram. All of you guys over here, I see a lot of you watching. K2 Boxing and Jiu-Jitsu. That's one of our chief students in the School of Boxing, the senior, and he's doing some their tournaments coming up too, so they get prepped. And what we're going to go over is Coach Colazar actually wanted to, go over these lessons, and we were going to go over how to make adjustments. So 2 decades ago, we were in World Championship training camp with Hassim Rockman. Oh no, this was Oliver McCall. So after we did that camp, I wrote these adjustments, the adjustments on all of these different scenarios, because we had all of these amazing fighters coming from all over the United States of America that were absolute killers. And so as I was doing all the note taking, and Oliver was telling us all of these secrets and things that were taught to him by Cus D'Amato and Mike Tyson, because he was Mike Tyson's chief sparring partner. So we went over to Mayflower, which is a seafood place, and we ate. Took him to get a haircut, and then he shared all of this stuff. So during these sparring sessions, they were smokers. They were on an entirely different level. And then there was peak week. And so when we experienced these times, it was my responsibility to either say, these are good memories, or I'm writing this shit out. And over the course of years, I made a book that had all of those teachings in it. And so that's what we are referring to in the Coach's Corner, all of it. And one of the main lessons is how to adapt in a fight, so that when you're a coach, if you can see the scenario, it's going to be in your books. And so instead of just sending that, we're going to do it as a class. And I'm going to go through the entire lessons, and they are serious, and it tells you how to deal with everything. So if those are the kind of lessons that you want. That's what we're doing in the Coach's Corner. So just keep your ears out. We'll be sign-ups for that in January. We're going to let you guys take part in the first quarter of that class. So if you are listening and you got 2 cells in your brain, go up to the website from Instagram, YouTube, and just find the link on my description and go up there and subscribe, or type "I want that smoke." No, type smoke, and smoke will send you up there. Type smoke and it'll send you to the site, but just subscribe. You ain't got to buy anything, just subscribe. And what you'll do is you'll get an invitation to visit that because you don't want to miss that if you box. And I know most of you coaches don't. Most y'all don't know. I mean, no one can answer questions that I ask because you don't know what's coming. And what that means is you thought you knew, but when somebody who know boxing asks you ain't confident. It's just like
you're a different person when you leave. You're a different person when you leave.
Yeah, but my thing is, if you don't come, I'm going to enjoy my coaches whipping the shit out of y'all in these tournaments, because if you got to box, you got to face them. So you just seen my man.
Inevitable.
Yeah, but we just want to make sure everybody get it. But for those of you who don't take part and see it, then cool. Figure it out on Instagram. Figure it out on YouTube. Just see how good your education is when the angles change. But the Coach's Corner. But knowing how to make those adjustments, knowing how to be a part of this thing, and knowing the stuff, and not second guessing yourself, because that's what you saw when you saw Spence didn't even second guess himself. I can say that about Spence. Spence was still trying to fight like a dog. You got to respect Spence. And I respect Derek James. He wasn't negative after the fight. He just, it was a tough night. He's had a tough run. What did I say about Coach James because he brought those guys in there? What did I say? I'm not even going to say what I said to her. What did I tell you?
Help me out.
Tell you about the losses.
Oh,
I told him there were going to be 3.
There were going to be 3 in a row. Yeah. It's kind of.
Now Anthony Joshua won with him, but he didn't win like he wanted to. He really kind of his stock dropped after winning the fight before the last fight he just was in with Derek James. And I said, you can't bring those kind of egos, that many different people into camp, because eventually the egos are going to get tapped on. Anthony Joshua used to being the only guy, now Ryan Garcia shared the camp with Canelo. I knew that wouldn't last. And when you look at Charlo, these guys, and Errol Spence too, like it's just too many people. That doesn't work. Yeah, even Virgil Hunter experienced that, and Virgil Hunter is brilliant. I think Virgil Hunter was one of the smartest boxing minds ever, because he shared the Olympic 2004 Olympic team with my mentor. So you got to be careful about knowing this stuff called boxing, and you got to be very, very aware about knowing and where can I learn, because coaches and these YouTube fighters, they're finding people like us. They're finding people who have actual academies online, and they're going to catch up with the fighters, because they already know how to market themselves. So
they got a chip on their shoulder. They got a chip on their shoulder. They know everybody talks smack about them, so they are seeking out what they need.
Everything in this game is numbers. But I said in 3 years, every main event card is going to be filled with people from YouTube, and the people from Rio Boxing are going to be on the card that they show to the public. They don't even care. And the pay-per-view main event cards are going to be filled with these KSI guys and these Jake, and no knock on it. That's not my kind of boxing, but the misfits that KSI is putting out there It's
Mhm.
real. And then you got Jorge Masvidal. Those guys. We know a lot. All these guys have opted into our teachings. You know, we know they learning from us. So they're not just watching on YouTube. They opting in to learning, and then there's seeing, being aware and knowing is two different things. So my advice is get with an academy, because you're not going to learn enough on Instagram and YouTube. I don't give a shit if you sit there all day. It's nothing that's simultaneous. It's not in the lesson back to back. You're not getting a Monday through Friday. You're getting a piece here, a piece there, and you got to commit 848 hours to every skill set. And so these things you don't even know. 99.9. The only person that knew that is anybody that's in my school, and Stacy, who's heard me say it over and over. A skill set by itself. You ain't committing that much time to one skill set. You're not. I know you're not, because I watch you steal other drills and try to learn all this stuff. And then you go into the gym and it's good to go until you get in the ring. Tell me this. When you get in the ring against a real dude, you question that shit. And that's why you getting hit. And that's the reality of it. I always wanted to be this confident about knowing when I was first in it. But I had to earn my years in stripes. And now I finally was able to get to that point, and I'm able to show all of these coaches and fighters what I learned. And the shit is Bible. We've made over 100 Golden Glove champions in like just a few years of this thing being alive. Since it's 20, we didn't start having competitive athletes really take part until like 2015, 2016. Joseph and Doris, all these Landoris, all these guys, they that started watching us when they were kids, they done went on and got belts, and we was the mentors. And now over 100 Golden Glove champions. You know, can't nobody tell me shit. And I done over 40 title camps, professional level. So, you know, you got a long way to go. If you do it the wrong way, you ain't going nowhere. I promise you that. The game is too real. You don't know enough. And Instagram ain't got no cheat code for boxing. So it's too many guys who figuring it out. And most of them from mixed martial arts. They adding boxing to their gyms and YouTube. And I'm telling you, old school boxing as it was known is going to be done away with, and these educated fighters and these educated camps is going to take over. And that's the bottom line. So be smart. My advice is go into 2024 with a new mindset and embrace the process, and realize that if you want something that's big and comes with abundance, you got to put in the work. You can't duck it. Just because you fight doesn't give you the key to not be responsible in any other walk of life. You feel me what I'm saying? And you coaches who duck in reality, acting like you can figure it out, learning skills before you learn business, trying to open gyms and you don't know shit about business, stop it. We don't want to just see you start a little rinky-dink gym just for it to close. We done brought people who show you how to get 501c3s if you're going to do it and be lazy about it. So it's a nonprofit, and we'll have her back on in January. So if you guys are going to take part. We're doing real shit. We're doing real stuff. But having that being said, there's just so many things that you don't know about that you want to learn about if you want to get to this place in boxing, and you want to really say, I really got something, coach. I got guys sending video and I'm strong and picking up, cars and shit. I'm saying boxing ain't got nothing to do with attributes. Boxing is the sweet science. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn boxing. So January, what's that date?
January 11th will be the very first Coach's Corner
I got
workshop.
people leaving their email addresses over here on Instagram, but look, guys, if you want to take part, DM your email or just go
Please.
subscribe. DM your email address to this page, whether you're on Facebook or if you want to take part and listen to what really goes on and what you really need to know in boxing, working corners, knowing how to make adjustments. It's just a laundry list. So keep your eyes peeled for that and stay tuned for Saturday's show, which is the end of the year show. And we're going to get it in. We're going to close the year out with some of the great fights and talk some boxing. I won't fuss you guys out, but you guys are making me a man when you try to duck what we had to learn. And see, we were the last of the Mohicans. Grassroots boxing is what we teach. And for those of you who are just joining over on our page, welcome. All I give your ass is the smoke. And I know my page is the tightest page on social media, hands down, because I'm giving you the shit you need. Everybody else is just giving you the stuff you want. So for that reason, I co-sign on my own self. I don't need nobody to co-sign on it. Because I know when I look at my own shit, I'm like, damn, that's why I don't follow nobody. Because I know they're just putting up fugazi stuff. Here, do this, do this, do this. I'm like, man, please help the game. Don't hurt the game. We want the game higher. You know what I'm saying? All we trying to do is leave things here. So I got to send a special shout out to Malik Scott for committing and even going through these trenches, because I know it's difficult, but he's a tough guy. He's smart. And Shelly Finkel for not accepting our offer to help them out. And now they done lost 3 fucking fights. That's what happens when you don't know who you have in front of you. So identify the wisdom, because that was a charity case I was doing, because I ain't even about that life. I don't need that life. I was just going to say, yo, anybody who's out here knowing that you got to know what you're doing in this sport. And even people that's in the sport don't know what the fuck they doing, because I'm coaching a whole lot of these guys that y'all are watching on television and they coaches. And no, they ain't gonna tell you they don't know what the fuck they doing, but I know they don't know what the fuck they doing, because I'm telling them. That's why a lot of them following. So I know you following. Yeah, I know you following. Yeah, and I'm gonna keep helping, but we want to make sure that this year coming up is gonna be real. I know this year coming up is gonna be real, because there's going to be a separation from the haves and the have-nots. Like they say, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. That's exactly what you're gonna see in 2024. You're gonna see those who really ain't buttoned up. They ain't even gonna be able to get on no kind of main event card, not even the card soon. And y'all gonna say, I remember him saying that. All these dudes up here ain't even from the sport. They ain't even have real amateur careers. But they did go learn and stuff. So Stacey, anything else you want to update everybody on before we get out of here?
I think the big news is the launch of the Coach's Corner. First one will be January 11th, and I see emails coming in now. And I will say it's going to be a tight crew. This isn't going to be, doors wide open type of thing. You're going to have an opportunity to reserve your seat, claim your spot, and lock in for just an awesome experience through the Coach's Corner. And just to reemphasize, in case Coach didn't make it clear, the Coach's Corner really has nothing to do with skills. We got you covered with that in Top Trainer U and Champions University. The whole focus of the Coach's Corner is to talk about all the stuff that, honest to God, nobody has been willing to share with you guys until this gentleman right here. And so that's kind of the framework for 52 weeks, 2 workshops a month. So you can
it's gonna be crazy.
You
ain't even got to sell it no more, Stace. If motherfucker don't know right now, look, my man from Crossfire Boxing said boxing has changed since the 70s. So has my fucking face, man. Man, what the hell? Come on, champ. Crossfire Boxing, I want you to DM me your email address right now. Crossfire Boxing. Yeah. Hit me up for real. All right. That's it, Stace. I ain't mean to. I just, it's so
No,
many
that's
people
all.
leaving comments, and I don't, after the stream go away, let me see my man. I am Lil Nook laughing. Yeah, Nook, you know what it is, man. You got to be real with these cats, dude. I know what it was like being on the winning side, and I know what it tasted like being on the losing side, especially when you're on the losing side because of incompetence. There are only 3 reasons why fighters lose fights. Every time a fighter loses is because of one of these 3 reasons. And we're going to go over that too in the coach's corner and make it clear so you don't make those mistakes and stuff. And so that's it for guys over Instagram. My subscribers on Instagram, not followers, but my subscribers on Instagram, you'll get to save and see this, because when I end it, which I'm doing now, you guys can see it in the subscription portal. All right, let me move my phone out of the way. So that's it, man. I thank you guys for all taking the time to tune in.
Hang on.
And
Hang on.
go ahead.
Isn't there something you wanted to talk about for?
Oh yeah,
coming
and
up?
also we have real estate school. My guy from Fort Lauderdale, he's popping in on us on next Tuesday. My guy, and y'all got to stay tuned, because if you're trying to get a boxing gym, or you're trying to blow your finances up, you got to come and be here on Tuesday for sure. This is my guy.
At the Flagler School of Real Estate. And if you want to start the new year off with a new you and a new career, join us on the Eric Bradley Live Show, Tuesday, January 2nd.
Bang. Got to be in the building. This is going to be very cool. Robert is a wizard. I call him Mr. Fort Lauderdale. He's one of the reasons we got down to South Florida in the smooth manner that we did. Took us around on his golf cart, spinning and spinning and spinning, and just was totally transparent with us. Opened the school to show real estate people, or people who are interested in getting into real estate, how to make that money the right way and pass their tests. And so the real estate school, in 1 week, that's all it takes. He can do it in 1 week. He can get you ready to pass that test and get money, because ain't nobody down here in real estate that ain't living that life. Nobody. Am I lying, Stace?
No. And if you're not, you need to be seeing our friend Robert.
Yeah, so he'll be on the show Tuesday. So be here. Like I said, be in the building, because everything that we're doing here is for the greatest of good. So tune in on next Tuesday. It's going to be a blast, man. But thanks all of you for staying on and hanging tight. And like I said, make sure you do the emails. If you're trying to get on board, DM it. Don't put it on the chat. You know what I'm saying? I want everybody to know your email address. Your email address is like your social security number, value-wise. So do that. Stacey, anything else? Is that it?
That's it. I just wanted to thank everybody. It's been an awesome 2023. 2024
Yes,
is going to be smoking.
It was. And all of my brothers, special shouts out to all the brothers in Top Trainer U, the top 1% trainers in the world. That's all I got, guys. Until next time, continue blessings at Godspeed. My name is Eric.
And I'm Stacey, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Peace out.
See you next